everyone, welcome back to another week rotations video. We're on now week number 31, and this week has been a special edition week because I actually put out a community post and polls narrowing down what would you guys pick for me to wear for this past week, and it narrowed down to you choosing a certain line of fragrances, a whole complete line from a certain fragrance house that I have, and most of you, as those of you who voted for the Bentley For Men line, which is actually not that big of a line, but I have covered that line in a separate video, so if you want a deeper dive and a better guide as to what each of these smell like and if you should buy one or not, go watch that video right here. I put a link to it right there. But I wore each of these throughout the week, even the ones that are more cold weather oriented. So it's very interesting to see how I would wear these and be able to make it, possible in the hot weather that we're in. I'm in the southern US and it's very humid, very hot this past week, especially. So trying to wear these was very interesting. I did choose more nighttime and while I was at home, just kind of technically say that I wore it, but I did get to experience it and it was very interesting and nice. But the other half of them were warm weather appropriate, so it made it very easy, half and half, some in the daytime and the others at nighttime. But yeah, very interesting. Starting off with the first one here, each of these I wore at least twice in the week, but this is one that I actually wore 3 times last week and I love it. It's probably one of my favorites from the line aside from maybe 1 or 2 others. Really love it. I talked about it in my signature cheapies video that I released either earlier this year or later last year. I know Dustin from the Fragrance Fan channel absolutely loves this one and I do too. Very underrated, not talked a whole lot in the cheapie fragrance community, but I think it really deserves it because it is so good. It is Bentley For Men Black Edition. Really love this one. This is one that's gonna come across very fresh, almost aquatic freshness in here, a little watery, but very sweet. There's actually a thing called sweet notes that are in this. So a little sweet on the top, a little fruity, citric. It also has a very dominant violet leaf note, but it's not gonna come across in the same style that things like Fahrenheit or, Salvador Ferragamo's Bright Leather or even Mercedes-Benz come across with that piercing kind of floral violet. It's actually more subdued in here. It blends in a little better. And actually the blend on this is all really good together. It's hard to pick out anything, but it is in here adding a little bit of a freshness, a little more of a push in that area. It also has earthy notes in here. It also has, I think, incense and papyrus. So it's a very interesting fragrance. It's also very versatile. This is kind of like Bentley's version of like a blue fragrance, something that is very easy to wear either daytime or nighttime, any time of the year. And you really can. It might not be able to wear this in the dead of winter, but any other season, any other occasion is perfect for it. I mean, like I said, I've talked about most of these, so I'm gonna try to go through these as quick as I can. But yeah, really love this one. Absolutely my favorite. I wore this last Sunday, I wore it Wednesday, and I wore it yesterday on Saturday. Really love this stuff. It's so professional. Like I said, clean businessman, CEO kind of vibes. Perfect to wear for office, casual, formal business attire, whatever you're doing. It just fits really any occasion. I have another friend of mine that really loves this one. He wears it all the time. It smells amazing on him, and I have to compliment him every time because I do love this profile. Again, very fresh, clean, but sweet, and has some interest to it and some nuance as it dries down, a little bit of a dry woodiness. And performance is really good on this. A good projection for the first hour and a half. Great sillage and longevity is easily like 6 or 6+ hours. Depends on how you wear it and how much you spray and all of that, but still really good, well above what you'd expect from this price range. I think I even got this one for like under 30 bucks. So really good. And most of them even fall in that category here. So yeah, if you can find this, definitely recommend it because it is super good. The next one is one that I wore 2 nights out of the week. I think I wore it maybe either Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Thursday. Either way, I wore it twice in the week. It's another one of my favorites. There's one that's actually not talked a whole lot about. Even the fragrance community and the cheapie side, it's kind of under the radar compared to the other more cold weather appropriate ones. But this one I think is well deserving, very much in that niche profile, and I really love it. It is Bentley For Men Absolute. So this is one that's gonna come across very dry, woody, like very dry, woody, very smoky, has a nice spicy ginger note on the top. Not anything that's sweet. There's like almost no sweetness in this. Not anything that's too fruity or citric. It's really just a spiciness in here, almost a dry spice, but that ginger on the top pops it off very quick. And then in the base, you have things like sandalwood, I think even cedar. It's a very dry sandalwood, like sandalwood shavings kind of deal. A little reminiscent of things like Santal 33 by Layla Beau, and I've personally said this smells very similar to Cape Heartache by Imaginary Authors, minus the strawberry fruity notes in that, but the piney conifer dry woodiness is definitely in this. Also a lot of smokiness. There is an incense note in here, which gives it almost like a charred wood vibe. Like if you cut wood on an electric saw and you have that kind of burnt wood smell in the air, that's what this smells like a fresh used wood shop with wood shavings and sawdust on the floor. It has that kind of thing to it. And even because of the dry woodiness and the incense, a lot of people say this smells like old church pews, when they go into like old church buildings, like Catholic churches and things like that, and I can definitely get this. Yeah, this stuff is amazing though. Not gonna be the best performer as far as projection. It's okay, but the longevity on this is easily like the 6-hour mark, depending on, you know, what you're doing, how you're wearing it. Definitely more appropriate for the cold weather, like fall and winter, the dead of winter, and maybe even a little bit of the colder in the spring. But wearing this while it was nighttime in the summer actually wasn't that bad. I just wouldn't put on a lot, especially in very, very high heat. But the cool thing actually is I was wearing this while I was playing on Nintendo Switch. I was playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, trying to catch up and just do the completionist route because that's how I am. I haven't played it in like 2 years and just wanted to go back on it and have a little bit of a stress relief. And wearing this while playing the game is kind of synesthetic. It put me into the atmosphere because I was walking in the woods and all the other dark places in the game, and I smelled this and it just had a whole effect to it. But yeah, really cool, very immersive, and I really did enjoy it. But yeah, if you don't have this one and you want something that's a very heavy woody fragrance, like I said, dry, very much a niche profile because the quality on this is amazing, definitely pick this up. It is very underrated, but much deserving of it. The next one is probably the one that's going to be the most hyped and most talked about in the fragrance community when it comes to the warm weather side of Bentley, and I do really love this one. It is a staple, and I really have enjoyed wearing it lately this past week. I only wore it 2 times, but those 2 times were very, very enjoyable. It is Bentley For Men Silver Lake. So this is one that's gonna come across smelling very similar to Acqua di Gio. A lot of people say it smells like Acqua di Gio Essenza, which is now a discontinued flanker from that line of fragrances, but it smells just like Acqua di Gio in general, Acqua di Gio, even Acqua di Gio Profumo, some people say. But I think it starts off smelling like Acqua di Gio, but dries down, smelling a little similar to Ralph Lauren's Polo Deep Blue, that more ambery, deep blue kind of aquatic nature. This is very aquatic, like the colorization would lead you to believe, but also very aromatic, a little green on the top, very citric. It is very, like I said, very close to Acqua di Gio, just minus the white floral aspect and minus the sea saltiness, even though you might can get a little bit of that in here, a very watery kind of thing, very musky, very fresh. And also, if I got to mention that Bentley For Men Black Edition is also very musky, but like a sweet musk, which makes it very wearable. And this one is just as wearable, even though it's not gonna be as sweet, very citric, very aromatic, a little green. It dries on being a little fresh woody, but a little more on that ambery side, being similar to things like Polo Deep Blue. But yeah, really enjoyable, very fresh, very invigorating, very classy, very mature as well, which most of the Bentley line, actually if not all of these here, are going to lean a little bit toward the mature, classy, you know, formal side of things, but you can easily wear them if you're a younger guy, want something very casual, especially these more warm weather ones. But yeah, this one really good, great performance on this as well. This is easily like, you know, a good loud projection for the first hour or so, then it dries down, having a good sillage to it still, but goes into like the 5 to 6 hour mark as far as longevity. Again, depends on how you wear it, but this is a huge compliment getter. And actually, while I was wearing this, I got a compliment on it the day I wore it, which was Monday, then I wore it again on Wednesday, actually, I think. No, I wore it again on Thursday. Sorry, because I wore Black Edition before that. But yeah, I wore this Monday and Thursday, and actually got a compliment on this Monday, the first day I wore it. And someone said, man, you smell really good. You smell like Acqua di Gio. Are you wearing Acqua di Gio? And I was like, no, but actually this fragrance does have a lot of similarities to Acqua di Gio. So yeah, without even knowing, you know, things were for granted because said someone thought it already smelled like that. And I know I've actually suggested this as a gift to a coworker for her husband for a Father's Day gift, and she and him absolutely loved it. He was a huge fan of Acqua di Gio for a long time, got this fragrance and was like, man, this scratches that itch for me perfectly and it lasts all day on me. I love this. Thank you for the recommendation. So yeah, really, really good. If you haven't tried this and you want a very good warm weather sign from what Bentley offers, this is a great one to go with. The next one here is one that is also very underappreciated. Don't hear it talked about a whole lot. I think I might have heard maybe one of the YouTubers I've talked about actually appreciate it. That was into cheap fragrances, and you more hear about the intense version of this, which is also really good, but it kind of overshadows this one. I think this deserves a lot more hype, especially now that I've worn it this past week, even in the summertime. I really appreciate how it smells. This is the original Bentley For Men, the original one, not the intense one, but the regular Bentley For Men. I think the one that started the whole line rather than all the flankers. This is one that is really, really good. This is gonna be the sweetest of the bunch besides Black Edition. This is gonna have more of that boozy, rum, alcoholic liquor kind of sweetness to it, like a sweet booze. A lot of aromatics in here as well. It actually comes across a little fresh spicy, but it has a very noticeable bay leaf note in here, which actually has a little bit of a bitter quality at the top, almost sour, a little reminiscent of things like, you know, Drama Vito's Artisan Blue, but not quite herby is that one, and not really aquatic like that one either. But this does have a little bit of a bitter, herbaceous, aromatic nature on the top, then it dries down, have a little bit of a benzoin, warm vanillic nature to it, a lot of that sweet booziness coming up, and a little bit of a woodiness, but mainly what you get left with is a good sweet boozy muskiness. This thing though is really, really, really good. I mean, it has amazing performance as well. Easily like a medium loud projection for the first hour, hour and a half. Great sillage to it, very enjoyable. And it has a good longevity, like 6+ hours to it, which you would not expect, but this is really, really good. This is probably gonna be the one that appeals more to younger guys, especially if you want something sweet, but also a little bit of a classy, mature facet to it. Like you want it to be sweet, but upscale, or maybe you're an older guy that wants something a little more sweet, but classy. This is a good one to go with. I know I've actually heard stories of people who are recovering alcoholics who could not wear this fragrance because it has too much of a realistic booziness to it, and it made them have like some side effects and symptoms and things like that. Like I can't wear that even though I really do like it. But yeah, if that testifies to the quality of this one and how it comes across, then yeah, it's really, really good. Absolutely love it. This is a calming getter, perfect date nights, probably gonna be more appropriate for the cool end of fall, winter, maybe a little bit in the springtime. But I was able to wear this as a date night scent on Friday night and when I went to church on Wednesday night, and it worked perfectly. Even though it was a cooler end but still a little warm outside, it still worked very well, especially when I was in more air-conditioned environment. So yeah, just be very light with the sprays, especially if it's gonna be in the warm weather. But in the fall time and winter time, this is definitely one you can break out and wear easily all day long, daytime or nighttime. It fits perfect either way. But yeah, really enjoy this one, very much underappreciated. If you get the chance to get this one, definitely don't skip out on it because it is really good. And now on to the last of the warm weather oriented ones in the Bentley For Men line. And this one is one that is highly recommended from Ross at the TLTG Reviews channel. And actually when he first talked about liking this one, I was like, I never heard of that one, never even knew about it. Then I went and got this one and got all the other ones with it and completed the line. But yeah, now I see why he talked about this because this is very underrated too, especially compared to all the other ones. And I really, really love this. This is Bentley For Men Azure. And of course you see that gradient, that clear on the top and that blue at the bottom definitely gives away how this smells. So this is one that's gonna come across very, very citric, like rind, almost rindy, but very sparkling, effervescent kind of citrus, a little aromatic, a little green. A lot of people say it has a little bit of a reminiscence to like Azure Chrome, but it doesn't really have that metallic facet, and it's not smelling as dated as that, but the musk that's in this is a little bit similar to that. It does have an aquatic, ozonic, very airy, fresh musky nature to it, and as it dries down, get a little bit of aromatics in here and a lot of lavender, a very heavy dose of lavender actually, and it actually started reminding me of good old like throwback masculine scent fragrances, which I know used a lot of lavender back then, but it had a very old school masculine classiness to it, which I really loved and I really never got beforehand before wearing it this week. And I actually wore this on Tuesday and Friday in the daytime, and I sprayed enough on that I really got it, and like I said, I never knew that it had that other kind of aspect to it, and I really enjoyed it, really loved it. And it dries down being a little bit powdery and a little bit of a soft musky woodiness in there, but nothing too harsh. And actually what I get out of this when I first smell that citric kind of fruitiness is something that has like a bite to it. Like the citrus has almost a gummy, hard kind of texture to it. I don't really know how to describe it. Maybe it's a little bit of a synesthetic thing, but it's just a citrus that has a bite to it. It has a hard base to it. I really do love it. I really like it. It's very interesting. Again, don't know how to describe it. That's the best way I know how, but I really, really love this one. This is gonna be really the more or less performing one out of all the ones here. It has like a good projection for that first like hour or so, then it dies down, and in between like that 4 to 5 hour mark as far as longevity, I did refresh this midday and I did like it and it did help it to last a little further into the day, but it's not gonna give you a whole lot, especially if you're out in the heat, you're working a lot, you're moving around a lot, it will dry off pretty quick, but still, while it is there, very smooth, very high quality, absolutely love it. Again, the probably less known and less talked about as far as the summer, more warm weather oriented ones in the Bentley For Men line, but it definitely deserves a lot more. Absolutely love it. It's a good pairing to all the other ones. If you don't have this one and you're interested, definitely recommend this one. And now the last one in the Bentley For Men line, which a lot of people actually will talk about this one first above everything else because this was the most hype and would kind of put the Bentley For Men line on the map, and then everyone found out all the other ones. This is the one that people say is a niche quality for a cheap price, which I will actually say that Absolute is the same way, but I cannot agree more with this one here. It is none other than the one and only Bentley For Man Intense. So yes, this is the one that is going to be like the original one, Bentley For Men, that boozy rum aspect, but it is way less sweet and way more dense, serious, dark, more bass heavy. This is one that's not going to have as much aromatics on it. Like I said, not as much of that boozy sweetness, way more on the leather note that's in here, on the benzoin vanillic sweetness. This is also one that comes across to me a lot more warm, a lot more of a glowing orange kind of effect when you smell it. It's very, very interesting. A lot more on the incense, which is an added note in here. Very smoky as well. A lot more of the dry woodiness on that base. Like I said, very bass heavy, a lot more dark, a lot more serious. It's not one I think that projects as much as the regular Bentley For Men, but probably one that lasts a tad longer than that one. Like I said, it has more of a heavy hold on you. It is one that's gonna be a lot more dense, especially the closer you get to your skin. It's gonna have more heart to it and more of like a wall of fragrance. And like I said, a lot more dense and heavy, but this one is amazing. I know Entertainment Hughes gave this a very high rating of like 9 or 10, especially for a cheapie, which is really good because he said it had really good quality to it, really good blend, and for the price, you can't beat it. And it doesn't hurt that this was also perfumed by one of my absolute favorite perfumers, which is none other than the one and only Natalie Lorson, who also did, I believe, the original Bentley For Men, so it's fitting that she did this one as well. She also did all the Encre Noir line, so if that tells you anything, this one is gonna be an amazing quality for the price. Like a lot of people say, it is niche quality, and it's no doubt about it. Amazing, amazing. Not only for everybody, because it does have, like I said, a more hardcore, heavy masculine feel to it, almost a little bit of a throwback thing, but not really so much so. If you like this one, you're gonna love it, but if you don't like it, you're probably gonna hate it. And if you're in between, I suggest you try it again until you know what you like, but I personally really love this one. I actually got a sample of this when I first started my fragrance journey because I heard so much about it, and I really didn't like the sample. I thought it was okay, but it really wasn't anything that stood out to me a whole lot. But after getting this full bottle, it is totally different wearing experience, and I absolutely love it. Flippin-tastic. I love it so, so much. If you don't have this one and you're debating on whether to get it or not, I highly recommend trying it out, just seeing what you think about it, and also just to find out what perfumery can do for an inexpensive fragrance. It can make or break it, and for this one, it really made it. And when we get into the heart of fall and winter, that cold, cold weather, I'm gonna be breaking this thing out and wearing the mess out of it. Really love it. And there you go, guys. That is the Bentley For Men line that I wore all last week. Picked different days, different times, and it was interesting trying to pick times and things and situations to wear these in, especially the more cold weather ones, because a lot of them are heavy, sweet, or smoky and woody, and pick different times to wear them that fit because it's very hot, very muggy, and very humid. And actually with Bentley For Man Intense, I had to be very careful because I was wearing this outside to a birthday party of a family member, so I just went with like 1 or 2 sprays on the back of my neck, very light, and actually ended up getting a good compliment out of it. So it was worth it, but I definitely had to be careful with how I sprayed it. Just very minimal sprays, very light if you do decide to wear a cold weather fragrance in the heat of summer. And if there's any of these from the Bentley For Men line that you have, or you have had, or you're thinking about getting, or you have questions about, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can answer them, or maybe I can just give a little discussion about it, or maybe just let me know which one of these is your absolute favorite. Which one do you love wearing? If you have any or all of these, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below as well. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a thumbs up. Let me know to keep making videos just like this one. I know that this is very out of the box kind of thing, getting you guys to pick something for me to wear through the week, and hopefully I'll do this again in the near future. I just need to kind of get my collection a little more filled out, have more lines, and have more things and interesting ideas coming out there. But be on the lookout in case I do it again. And if you were watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, but you do like what you see here or what you see elsewhere on the channel, I encourage you to please consider supporting the channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you can see all the other videos and all the stuff that I'm getting prepared to bring out to you guys. I would love for you to be right along with me on this cheap and inexpensive fragrance journey. And hey, maybe I can even help you discover something new along the way. And as always, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Again, thank you for being here and for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And as usual, I will see all of you again in the next video. Be blessed.